23 years old, against 33-year-old Mashall Holman. Mashall with 2 victories. Coming into the semifinal match, the winner will meet Ron Bell, the tournament leader. Mashall averaging 261, 2 games. That's stroking, Nelson.
A lot of, as his hands show a little perspiration, he takes that rosin. Now watch what he does with it. He puts it in the holes. They'll remain in the holes, but he wipes off the residue on his towel, which he wraps on his shoes. So if he sticks, it's his own fault. But he's ready to go, all set. Holman, as you said, averaging 261 and 262 average will put him close to the 4-game record.
4-pin and the 4-game record held by one Nelson Burton Jr.
Many years back, 1050 for 4 games, as you see Holman drifting just a pinch high in the first frame, 2-pin the sideboard, twist between the 4 and 7. Not to be. 4-pin must go. As we've said before, 9 degrees off axis, it must fall by American Bowling Congress regulations. Apparently, it didn't get that far off axis.
So Mashall does continue to mark. First frame spare. Okay, Joe Firpo, born December 21st, 1964. And the non-winner that started against Holman was born the very same day and year, Todd Thompson. So let's see what this young bowler can do against Holman. He's on the right lane. Did very well.
What a wonderful stroke. Palmer Falgren, who lives in the Florida area, saw this young man a few years back, and he showed me him as we watched his stroke, that long pivot step, and look at the follow-through directly towards the target. And I had the luxury of bowling a exhibition match against him while he was still a junior bowler. Glad I got him back then because he's way too tough right now.
And the bucket on the left lane for Joseph Firpo.
Left-hand lane, as we said earlier, being a pinch tighter. As we say that, 1 board or so. Joe Firpo will look down to the approach, standing on approximately the 20th board, the center board of the lane, center dot being lined up with the center arrow. We'll make that adjustment.
Okay, today it's professional bowling and wide world. And Nelson, tomorrow it's a big day at 2 Eastern from Calgary, Alberta, a live 2-hour special. Calgary 88, the Olympic adventure continues, to be followed by basketball.
And your old alma mater, Purdue, I think they're going to have their hands full against Michigan, Chris. And in the Olympics, I'll be watching for you on the 70-meter jump next Sunday, a week from Sunday.
Week from today. And another man will be watching is Mashall Holman, who loves sports of all kinds. And when he can't be there in front of the set live, little VCR action, this guy.
Mashall, who is going from here up to the Lakeview School area in Citrus County, Florida, near Steve Neff's bowling center area for a little exhibition for learning impaired kids. Mashall spending his time generously with all the people. And a lot of money to spend also, the way he's been knocking them dead for the last 15 years on the Pro Bowlers Tour. Right now he can take the lead with a strike in the 3rd.
On the tour, $1,223,000. And again they topple, giving him a double and putting the pressure on the non-winner, Joe Firpo, leading by 10.
Saws the 5, splits the 6. Watch this. 1, 3. See that later 5-pin. See that 6 just snap out the 10-pin. And say, how are things going today, Mashall?
And young Joe Firpo is back striking, giving him 40 through the 2nd, strike up in the 3rd as he moves over to the left lane now. We're at Galaxy Lanes in Venice, Florida.
I want to see a lot of practice, a lot of natural ability. Watch the smoothness. His arm swing goes straight through towards the target. You saw that little double wrist action that all these top pros employ today to get that high roll and tremendous power on the bowling ball. And right now is a key frame for Joe Firpo. We can't let Holman get too far ahead of him.
Yeah. 3-bagger. For Joe Firpo from the other side of the state of Florida, Lake Worth. Holman averaging .261 in the 2 victories. Opened with a spare, has a double up, shooting in the 4th frame against non-winner Joe Firpo. Three-bagger. Little added pressure.
Holman just stroking along beautifully, never really having any bad shots. Remember the one shot he had out of the pocket, the 4, 6, 7, 10 in the first match against Thompson, but it really had no effect on the outcome of the match. And right now he has a 10-pin lead to extend to 20 with a strike here in the 5th.
Ten-pin on the left lane for Mashall Holman.
Left lane, Chris, as I looked up there and being kind of pickish about it, there was really a tight rack. It's something the players always look for. Holman didn't look for it. The 1 and 3 pins were pretty tight there, and it didn't allow the ball to get deep enough in the pocket to pop that 10 out. Right now, with this conversion, he would lead by 9.
Okay. Earlier today, Pete McCordick on the left was awarded a plaque as Bowler's Journal Person of the Year for 1987 by Bowler's Journal publisher Mort Luby Jr. on the right. He's the man that came up with the first of 2 300 perfect games a little over a year ago, and the last being Bob Benoit. $100,000.
Firpo to take the lead.
It's a new position for Mashall Holman. We asked Firpo why his right hand is taped.
Well, what it was a couple of years ago, I was originally going to come out on tour about 3 years ago, and I hurt my hand bowling in one of the rabbits in the tournament. And it was just I guess a pinched nerve or some sort of torn ligaments. So what I did, I started just changing where I was holding the ball for a while. And I was moderately successful with it. And then I decided I wasn't doing well enough, so I switched to this and put in this pad here so I can roll the ball over on that part of my hand. It gives me a little more back end, a little more hook on the back end where I need it to carry.
Joe Firpo, who left the 610 on the left lane while he was describing and explaining the tape.
And he said it gave him a little more hook. He didn't need it on that particular shot. And just backtracking slightly, the Rabbit squad that he refers to is the Pro Tour qualifier that non-exempt players must bowl every Monday to get in the tournament.
So clean games for both bowlers now, continuing to mark, and Mashall Holman with a 1-pin lead at this point. Spare working, shooting in the 6th. The winner to meet Ron Bell, tournament leader. High hit, 3-6-10.
Holman once again reaches down on the approach to pick something up, and it must come out of either his bowling ball or off his hand. I'll watch more closely. He had it happen in the second game, the bowl over on the left-hand lane. It doesn't seem to have any effect on his stroke, but he seems a little bit discouraged as he right now allows Firpo the luxury of leading in the match by just 2 pins after 6 frames.
3-6-10, right lane. He told you earlier the number of seconds, 3rds and 4ths last year, and never a victory. And it seemed often, Bo, that when he got upset with himself, that led to his downfall.
That's very true, Chris. 8 championship rounds without a victory, and he said he liked Galaxy Lanes, as we remember in 1983 and 84, and 15 championship rounds appearances. He only had 1 victory. That wasn't even a tournament victory. He just won 1 match. He finally rectified that with back-to-back victories here in 1984 and the U.S. Open in 85. So let's see if he doesn't defeat himself.
Okay, got a break there. 7th frame strike. Very important one for Mashall Holman, with Firpo now coming up. Spare working, shooting in the 7th.
Right now, Firpo taking a re-rack as Joe Firpo can take the 2-pin lead if he can strike here in the 7th. As you look at the pin setters, in every automatic pin setter, we have at least 21 pins, 10 that are being rolled against, 10 that are being prepared, and usually an extra one in case a power player drives one of those pins out of the set.
And we keep watching Mashall Holman. He continues to talk to himself, perturbed with himself. He's always striving for perfection.
Right now, a slight delay. Holman going over to get a glass of water. Joe Firpo prepared to bowl. 7th frame has a 2-pin lead, a spare working in the 6th. Should be over any kind of championship round jitters that may have occurred, using a ball with grippers in it, using the fingertip grip urethane bowling ball, as all the players are today. Eyes that target between the 2nd and 3rd arrows. He's ready to go.
And the sound effects from the crowd really tell you the story.
Just
ugly 410.
Well, we can see the lane condition changing. Mashall Holman drifts high on the right-hand lanes. As you see what Firpo has to do, he has to get the ball over by the 4-pin and slide it over into the 10-pin. If he converts this, the match would be all even through 7. If he doesn't, he will be in arrears.
There's the costly open frame. Coming in the 7th for the non-winner, Joe Firpo. 145 through 7.
Firpo must gather his thoughts right now. Not slow up. Championship rounds are usually lost by players becoming too tentative. They tighten the muscles in the right arm or the left arm if you happen to have a lefty in a championship round, which we haven't had so far this year in 6 weeks. And you throw the ball too slowly. Let's see what Firpo does.
Just going by the pocket, leaving the 2-4-5-8 on the left lane.
Rhythm. A little bit too quick on the left. Trying to justify the soft shot on the right-hand lane in the 7th frame. Once again, a very tough spare for Joe Firpo. The 2, 4, 5, and 8 pins. I don't know, Harry Golden is discussing something on the side with Holman. Has nothing to do with Firpo. Uh-oh.
Nothing on the ball except speed and just missing. So it's back-to-back open frames.
Firpo sliding by, almost gets a break where the 2-pin comes back, slices the 4 into the 8, but not to be. He has opened the door for Mashall Holman. Firpo opens the 7th and 8th. Holman, who is trailing by 2, takes a 23-pin lead as he comes up in the 8th frame. Strike working, can extend that lead to a commanding 33 with another strike in the 8th.
Real clincher shot by Mashall Holman. Our tournament leader continues to warm up off to the right.
The experienced Holman, a little extra speed. He jams the potential winning shot solid in the pocket. No messing around here. He has Firpo on the ropes. He can put the knockout punch on him right here with a strike in the 9th.
Look at him prepare. A winner here on these lanes twice before. Exuding confidence now with that 9th frame strike.
Joe Firpo, 9th frame, potential 213. It's just a exhibition match now, as Firpo will have bowled well but not be enough to defeat Holman.
Okay, for the man that won a PBA doubles championship last year, we get that smile on the face. Joe Firpo.
Good high, strong roll of Firpo. Flips that 6-pin into the 10. That's something the pro bowlers do so well, even though there's a highly oiled surface out there, or conditioned surface 45 feet from the foul line down before you can get any natural bite on the lane. They still overpower the pins.
Plotting his own strike, the man that teamed with Del Warren to beat Rick Jones and Rick Minear, 218 to 168. And then Brian Voss and Les Sykes for the title.
Started bowling at age 8, bowled 3 years on his high school team, works out with his doubles partner Del Warren, some other good players in that Lake Worth area, Dennis Seropoulos, Jimmy Keith, Ron Dixon, all quality players, each doing very well on the Pro Tour.
And Joe Firpo, who has a lot of rooters in Lake Worth, Nelson, including a real close friend of mine, Herb Glass. They like Del and they like Joe, and it's great to get hometown fans rooting for their guys.
So true, Chris, as Firpo throws his final ball in the 75th anniversary year of the Bowlers Journal Tournament, co-sponsor here, that great magazine founded by Dave Luby in 1913.
10-pin, left lane, a 212, 7 strikes for Joe Firpo. He was trying for his second PBA title, a doubles victory prior to his try today. Now, Holman. A 10-pin on the right lane and a big smile from the usually placid Mashall Holman. The Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after this message and a word from our local stations.
Just like
Has won his third match, 7 strikes, a 235 with a spur and a strike in the 10th frame. Joe Firpo's 212, and that means now he goes against